1%er Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
Hey guys, welcome to the 1%er Podcast. It's your host, Sam Bakhtiar, and I have Brian Goldstein all the way from Beverly Hills in the house.
How you doing,
What's
bud?
up, brother? How are you?
Good.
I'm not going to say my good friend, Brian Goldstein, because we actually met online.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been checking you out. I'm a big fan of yours and a big fan of your page. You know, we have a lot of, common friends.
Yep.
You know, in common, and you love cars.
Yeah, I was actually with I Am Thompson on, what day did I see him? Saturday?
Saturday.
He's like, yeah, I know Sam, and then I got busy, he got busy. I'm like, it happens.
That's really cool, man. So I saw all your cars on Instagram. I'm like, man, I gotta call this guy up, man. We gotta look up. We gotta do a podcast, man. So I want to talk about your success first. Obviously, everybody sees on Instagram, the cars. And
and
and all that kind of stuff.
I don't really show me per se.
Yeah. But I mean, I want to know the beginning. Tell me how you grew up, what happened, and how you were here. That's what I want. I want to know the journey, because from what I understand, when we talk off camera, you had some, learning disabilities. You got bullied. You had to make fun of. People don't understand all that kind of stuff. And when people see my page, people are like, "Wait a second, man. Sam has this and Sam has it," but they don't see all the struggle of leading up to that.
They don't. They just think overnight you got the Lambo.
Yeah. Same. So go ahead and speak about that.
All right. So I came from a well-off family. My parents did well in real estate. Then they went through a very nasty divorce, and everything we had, attorneys got just blown.
So what age were you
when they got divorced? It started around 12-ish. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just a blur after that.
And where did you live at that time?
We lived in Bel Air.
Okay.
The house ended up in foreclosure. It was a struggle for my mom to rebuild. My dad kind of took off and went to Minnesota, met a new wife, had another kid, and he started his story all over again. My mom kind of stayed and raised us. But my mom's an alcoholic, so even though my mom was the rock financially, I still had to deal with all the alcoholism on the backside. And as a kid, nobody wants to deal with that, and nobody understands that.
So you grew up, up until 12, you grew up in Bel Air, which is like the number one real estate. You grew up very, very,
well off. Yeah.
Well off, right?
Like any toy I have.
Yeah, you had everything.
I had every toy in the world.
But then at 12, the kind of disaster takes, the beginning of the divorce, and, your parents, split. You said the house went on foreclosure.
Yeah. Mom eventually was able to get it back and, get it all turned around, but I still had to deal with her alcoholism side and all of that good stuff. And that's what people don't understand. Living with an alcoholic it's scary and stressful all at the same time.
So when your dad took off to Minnesota and then started his whole new chapter, his new book and everything like that, did you stay in touch?
We still talked regularly. And then once I graduated high school, he's like, hey, take over this on the family side, which I'm getting a little ahead. I'll actually backtrack a little bit. And so when sixth grade hit, I was supposed to go to Emerson Middle School, and my parents were like, it's not the safest school. Maybe we'll try and get you in a Beverly Hills school district. But I also had a learning disability. I was a little bit dyslexic, so I'd read stuff, and then when I'd repeat it, it just came out completely opposite.
So Emerson, okay, so you were in sixth grade, Emerson. Where's Emerson?
Westwood.
Okay, got it.
That's LAU.
But you live in Bel Air still, no?
Yep, but that's the closest LAUSD.
Oh, it was.
That's where I fell into.
Got it. So Emerson was the closest one. Okay. And but then your parents didn't want you to go there.
We did a tour and we all looked at each other and said no. It was just a quick no.
So you want to go to Beverly Hills?
Well, Beverly Hills actually has a very good special ed program where the classes are about 10 students, teacher and an assistant. So really it's 1 to 5, which is amazing. Because as you know, public schools are around like 30 to 1 and no assistant. So, and anytime I need extra help, I could leave my main class and go back to special ed and do it at their pace.
Got it.
So it was kind of that hands-on help.
So how'd you get into that school?
My parents got an apartment and my dad moved. And so I'd stay with my dad a couple days a week, my mom a couple days a week.
Oh, so your dad came back from Minnesota?
This was before Minnesota, right before.
Oh, this was before Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he maintained the apartment so I could go to school.
Got it. So your dad went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
You had to deal with your mom's alcoholism.
Yep.
Tell me about that a little bit. Tell me how hard it is. Tell me some episodes. Tell me what you remember.
Dude, getting beaten with coat hangers, just random shit. And as I got older, I got faster. I was a black belt in martial arts, so eventually my hand-eye coordination, I was able to grab the object as I got bigger. My mom's little, she's like 5'2". So when you're a little kid, she's intimidating. But once you pass her in height and size, okay, try me. I'm not gonna hit my mother, but I'll grab the object and rip it out of her hand.
Got it. So did she ever were able to overcome that?
No. She'll go like sober 2-3 months, and then she'll have a weekend bender, call me, say a bunch of nasty shit, and it doesn't matter that I'm 30 plus years old now. It still affects you when your mom calls you and talks shit at that level.
No doubt.
And she thinks by, helping me when I was younger, after she rebuilt financially, she was, she kind of says, well, I gave you X, Y, and Z. I'm like, that's great, but that doesn't fix the damage that was done. I still go to therapy once a week just to work on myself, to work through stuff. Just like I saw your giant library of you reading a bajillion books just to better yourself in different ways.
So, you were scarred mentally and emotionally by an alcoholic mother.
Oh, yeah.
That, very often kind of beat you.
Oh, yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yep.
And is that why you think, your marriage between your mom and dad didn't work?
Yeah, and my dad's also a pothead.
Okay.
So he had two completely different ends of the spectrum.
Wow. So it's crazy because it's one thing that, you have a substance abuse if you're broke.
Yeah.
But if you have a substance abuse, if you're rich, it's readily available.
Oh.
That's a whole new, if you're broke, you have a substance abuse, but you can't really afford to get this substance, but that if you're rich and now everything is at your disposal, so you have rich parents who were, addicted to substance.
Oh, yeah. And, my dad would wake and bake, and he'd smoke throughout the day. I was hotboxed more times than I can count as a child. And looking back, it's like, are you a fucking idiot? Like, what are you thinking? So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm an adrenaline junkie, and that's about it.
It's crazy, man, because a lot of people who are watching this or listening to this, their ultimate goal is to live in Bel Air, live in Beverly Hills, and have, cool stuff and all that kind of stuff. And that shows you that even people who are very well off, they're not exempt to certain things. Tony Robbins talked about it many times, and he said that, we're all the same people, just, we're all dealing with the same issues. He said he's had people who are billionaires who had coke addictions, and, he had people who are dead broke and had coke addiction. It's just one spectrum overall.
Yeah, it's just, we all have bills, we all have debt. It's just the spectrum's a little different for different people.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing people don't realize is the bigger you get, the numbers just get bigger. The problems are still there. Yeah. The equations are still there. You still have to figure out how to pay. Hey, you went out and bought $250,000 worth of your vitamin supplements to grow your brand. Well, your credit card's due in 30 days depending on how you timed it. And you pray you make enough sales to cover your costs before the time comes due, or you have to figure out how to make do.
Wow. So growing up, with your dyslexia and learning disability, off camera you said that, you were made fun of, bullied, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Can you talk about a little bit about that and some of the stuff that you remember?
So, being in special ed, kids would make fun of you. Kids would, screw with you, take your backpack. And in high school, I was fairly big. I was 210 pounds. I'd let them. Yeah, I remember one time some kid was trying to bully me. I was by myself. It was two of them. And I grabbed one of them, and we were on a side street, and there was a bus coming by. Literally grabbed them and said, do you want to die today? And put them close enough to make them wake up and realize.
Do you want to die today?
At a certain point, you get fed up, and, people don't realize how far bullying goes. And I'll never justify what kids do, but I understand why they get to that certain mental state.
No, I totally 100% understand that. So when did you first get your taste in entrepreneurship? At
17.
At 17,
I started a high-end car wash for cars I didn't have. And, we were doing $400 details, doing color sanding, full paint correction before there was mobile detailers anywhere. And started that while I was in high school, managed that. And then after that, I got into the family business of pharmacies. And it was like, this is different, dealing with regulations, state, federal, and manufacturers, just dealing with everyone was interesting to say the least. And really good at marketing, so I just put on my thinking hat and started to figure it out. And my dad was already gone. He was like, you figure it out. Good luck. And
what do you mean your dad was already gone?
He was already in Minnesota.
Okay, so Minnesota, so he gave you the family pharmacy business.
He threw me the keys.
Which was like what, in Beverly Hills area?
One in Beverly Hills, one in San Francisco.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy driving to San Francisco, and we had a major employee theft at the San Francisco store. So we asked the state for some forgiveness and said, all right, we'll move it down south so I can be close to both. And then moved it to Van Nuys, built it out. Took me like 6 months through approvals and everything to get it all done. And then I grew that facility. I think the facility was like 1,000 square feet. My new facility is like 14,000 square feet, give or take. And we've just grown to expand. And my main specialty is HIV and AIDS. And that's what I pretty much deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then now the whole social media thing, I've coached a couple friends from 0 to several million a year just by forcing them to look at things differently. And now I'm getting, same as you, just a bunch of DMs every day. How do I become successful? I help who I can and give what information I can. And I'm currently mentoring, I want to say 6, 7 guys on a day-to-day basis that have my cell phone number. But I limit how much time I spend on it.
Because that's not your main business. It's just like a passion project.
Yeah, and I enjoy helping people and enjoy holding people to a higher standard. And, simple little things, like one guy I'm working with didn't understand the concept of a corporation, whether it be an LLC or an Inc. or an S Corp. He's like, well, why can't I put it under my name? I'm like, when you get sued, you really want that asset taken away, or you want to do your best to protect it? Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Oh yeah, it's just those simple stuff. So a lot of times we think we know, and it's common knowledge.
Yep.
And yeah, I deal with that kind of stuff all the time. So your dad hands you the keys. There's 2 pharmacies. You shut one down, I guess, and bring it down south. There's 2 pharmacies. So tell me, how did you scale them? How did you scale that?
Just like you, we met via social media and just networking. I always keep a very large social circle just so I know, hey, if I need to get into that market, I usually can. And luckily, growing up in the industry, my parents were in it since '94. A lot of the doctors I grew up with, and I had a name for myself. And then I just started learning, going to trade shows and learning what was new and cutting edge, how to get patients to take less medications, which meant less money, but I'd much rather help someone than force a bunch of drugs down their throat. And seeing what vitamins would help the people and just supplementing in different things to get these people healthier. And just by word of mouth, I was able to grow to ship into other states and ended up with a sales force of a fairly large group of people. And it was just interesting, to say the least, of seeing how many people were getting just bags of medications thrown on their doorstep. And it's like, you don't need all of this. A lot of this contradicts one with the other. And why are you doing that?
You said that, you took over your dad's pharmacy and you're really good at marketing, so you're able to scale that. Mm-hmm. How did you get good at marketing? Because that's something that for me, I had to learn. I had to get coaches and I had to get mentorships and things like that. I wasn't a natural marketer, because when I grew up, sales and marketing was, like, oh my God, those are just for people, you're a Dr. Sam, you don't do sales and marketing, that was a persona. But then when I got out, I'm like, well, look, sales and marketing is needed for everything. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, or you're a dentist, or you have a car repair mechanic, or whether you're going on a date. That's sales and marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how did you get good at, kind of sales and marketing and be able to grow that?
Never really been asked that question. I guess I would say because of how I was raised, I have no fear. So someone telling me no, there's another door right there. I go and knock on it and just keep knocking until it starts working out, and trying to network with other people of, hey, help me grow this and I'll help you grow whatever niche you need, and we just exchange it.
I love it. You said something that's very profound. You said that, you had no fear. That means you had no fear to get rejected.
No.
See, a lot of people, they get stuck. They get one no and they want to quit. It seems like you get many no's, but you're like, well, no, I'm going to go to the next person. You keep knocking on doors till one opens up. Mm-hmm. And that seems like to be like a paramount of your successes. And also another thing that you said is that you are a great networker. You know what I mean? So you have, so many people, what they do, what they're all about, what space you're in. So you can always have a Rolodex of people to pull from when you need special something from some certain industry.
Yeah, and just look at all the people we both met through Instagram and some of the groups we chat in, and it's like we can reach out to a lot of these people and not necessarily step on each other's toes to help grow each other without conflicting with one another.
Yeah. So now, you have this giant pharmacy. Mm-hmm. You have over 300 some employees now, right?
Now I'm back down to like 30. It was just too much to handle.
It was too much. At one time, we were over 300, back down to 30.
And that's what people also don't realize. The bigger you are, the more work it is. And yeah, I may have a lot of cool toys, but I don't get to enjoy them. And, I put up a post a couple weeks ago that I wrote weekly motivation on my Lexus. Shows how long I haven't driven the car. It's just collecting dust. And people don't realize the endless nights or the sleepless nights that we're up thinking about stuff, trying to figure out, okay, I don't have a guaranteed paycheck. Just because I built something big doesn't mean it can't crumble tomorrow.
That is so true, man. I mean, and that's the risk of being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
In an entrepreneur, you basically are putting a bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Vegas, that means you're going to go out there and I'm betting on me,
yep.
Right? Because what you could do is, go for a 9 to 5, which, a lot of people say is more secure, but these days, is anything really secure?
Not really.
Not really, right? So, but at least it's less, you have something to do from 9 to 5, and after that is your time, right? Or you can work 24/7, 365, and then be able to enjoy some of the perks that comes from entrepreneurship, which mean like not having a boss or not being confined or anything like that. But either way, entrepreneurship is a huge risk, huge stressor.
Oh yeah,
and your paycheck is not guaranteed like it is if you're going to go work 9 to 5 for someone.
No, and some days you have really cool deals come across the table that sound great. You invest your time and money into it, and only to realize you screwed up. It's like we all make mistakes. No one's going to bat 100%.
Yeah. So you said something right now that resonated with me. That means you got a lot of cool toys, but sometimes you don't get to enjoy them because you're working. Mm-hmm. You said your Lexus, has only 1,500 miles on it.
Yep.
And that's what, a 2012. Yeah, 2012 Lexus LFA, which is one of my favorite cars, man. That's a huge collector's car.
Yep.
But you don't get to enjoy it, because you're constantly grinding, constantly doing what you're doing. What do you see yourself do in the next 5 to 10 years for you to be able to say, you know what?
Have a little
step back, have a little more time, be able to enjoy life, and be able to do that.
I'd like to sell my company and transition more into a little bit more real estate than I'm already doing. And also, I feel like the mentoring thing, whether I make money or not, I feel like just giving back that good karma and helping people as much as I can will really go as far as it can.
It seems like your pharmacies, it's an active role.
Yeah, I have to be there.
You have to be there. You said you work up to 80 hours a week.
Yep.
Have to be there, have to check everything out, and all that kind of stuff. Where real estate will give you more passive, income.
Yep.
Where you don't have to be there, and you're still collecting a pretty good paycheck and all that kind of stuff. And right now, you're single?
No, I'm married.
You got kids?
No.
Okay. So once you have kids,
my time's even more limited.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll tell you right now, man, I mean, being single, or at least being single and not having kids, it changes when you do have kids.
Oh yeah.
And I have 3, and I tell you right now, man, I am so stingy with my time. To the point that, if anybody, I'll meet with anybody, but it has to be on my time, on my turn, on my turf.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. So, I'm looking forward to see how you streamline your business. What are you going to do to be able to now kick back and kind of enjoy life a little bit? Because it seems like you've been really grinding.
Oh yeah, and even, with both of our pages the size they are, people don't realize Instagram's a job in itself that we don't get paid for. Yeah. It's a great networking tool, but a lot of people just scroll through. It's, I'm responding to people, creating what content I need for tomorrow, thinking about what story post I need to do, all along with living a life that people don't understand. I don't care whether you have 1 million or 5 million followers. It doesn't make the kind of money people think. Yeah. And it's hard work. You have to maintain all the relationships with any sponsorship deals.
I think Instagram is a great relationship tool. And it's, and over time, if you do the right things, good things will flourish from it. But if you're going to Instagram or social media with just how much money can I make, you're going to repel people, and nobody was going to tune into your channel. Social media is meant to be social media. It's like sitting at a coffee shop having a conversation. Not, hey, buy my shit, order this, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, so right now, let's talk about some of the cool cars you have, man.
So today I brought my Wraith.
I saw that, man. You have a black Wraith. Love that car, man. I mean, my wife, that's her favorite car. I have a Ghost. I wanted to get a Wraith because the Wraith is a 2-door version of the Ghost. But
you have kids.
The car, kids and all that kind of stuff. I have to have the Ghost, but the Wraith is beautiful, man.
Yeah, I feel like when kids come, the Wraith is bye-bye.
Yeah, right, yeah.
How many 2 doors do I need? I have my 918, my GT3.
Let's talk about the 918, man. The 918, when it came out, it was one of the fastest cars in the world. It was certainly, to this day, might be one of the quickest cars in the world. And when it came out, with Porsche, it was very tough to get one. How'd you get one?
Actually, it was fairly easy to get one at the beginning before anyone saw the true rendering.
Oh, really?
Because Porsche couldn't sell them. Then once the specs started coming out and the numbers really started coming out, everybody's like, oh shit, I want one. And so the cars went from I think fully loaded was 950. They were then selling for 1.7, 2 million, just jumping right out the gate. And people didn't realize what underrated beast it really was. And thing's a friggin' rocket ship.
Yeah.
0 to 60 in 2.4 or whatever it is. You're doing all-wheel drive burnouts till you hook up. But the car is so expensive, I don't enjoy driving it.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, man. A car that's like $2 million. You almost are paranoid for driving in the street, aren't you? Because at any time, I know one thing. I remember I was wanting to buy a McLaren one time. It was a what was it? It was a 675 LT, and I saw one that was like $100,000 less, and I'm like, why is this $100,000 less than all the other ones? Come to find out that it got scratched and they had to repaint it, and it was on Carfax. That little scratch, this quarter panel, they had to repair that, and that by itself caused the car to go down $100,000.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can't imagine if somebody plows in the back of that car.
Oh, it's done.
How much value is going to lose, or what's going to, and all that kind of stuff. So is that why you can't enjoy it?
No. So good example. One day I was driving home from work. I'm literally half a mile from my exit. I was in my old S Coupe, on the phone, whatever, not paying attention. A big rig was right next to me, and I heard a boom, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then the boom went from the front to my driver's side door. I'm like, what the hell? Whatever. I get home, look, my front spoiler's cracked, my rim's damaged, and there's a hole in my driver's side door, all from something falling off a car. I'm like, lovely. And then I was in my Tahoe, a couple months later, driving down the freeway. There's a picnic table, one of those ones in your backyard, the metal ones.
Out in the middle of the freeway?
Yep. Took it out too. I'm like, I'm not going to swerve with 5 people in the car. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Just hit it and
just repair the damage.
Yeah.
But it's different. You mess up a Tahoe.
Oh yeah, it's class.
If you mess up a 918,
that's
a $1 million mistake.
Yep, and that's one of the reasons why it just collects dust.
Yeah. Do you ever plan on selling it?
Yeah, I'll get rid of it. It's a cool toy, but it's a toy.
Yeah.
How many toys do we need?
And you have the GT2,
yep.
Porsche. Describe that car.
I've only driven it once, but I took it to the track and beat the crap out of it, and it was a lot of fun.
Is it a manual or is it dual clutch?
Dual clutch.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah, with 50 miles, I hit the pavement and just
took it.
It was a fun day.
Out of all the cars that you had, or have, what's your favorite?
R34 Skyline.
Oh, okay. Now tell me, how were you able to get one of those? Because aren't those like illegal in the U.S.?
So there's 14 legal ones in the U.S. And so it was a company called MotorX back in the day that did the paperwork, but they didn't do it properly. And the guy actually ended up going to jail for it. But those 14 stayed grandfathered in. And I found one guy that was a little hard up at the time. And I was like, what do you want? Wrote him a check and got delivered. And I was like, sweet.
So tell me about that car, man, because that car is like, it's kind of like a car of legends, right?
It's the iconic car.
It's an iconic car, So tell me about why is it your favorite? What kind of horsepower we're talking about?
I have like 650 to the tire, which...
And is that stock? Or is it...
No, I built it up.
You built it up.
I did cams, full exhaust, upgraded turbos, ECU. I have a nitrous kit waiting to go in. I did all sorts of random stuff, but the problem is that car's not made here, so getting parts takes upwards of 6 months depending on what you break.
And they don't make them anymore, so this was just a special made car for just a year or two?
They made it for like 3 years, I want to say.
3 years?
And just, it's one of those things of trial and error. Find which person has which parts and surf eBay, surf Japanese eBay, pay a lot of shipping anytime you need anything.
So tell me, why is that your favorite car? I mean, I want to know, what makes it, your favorite?
One of my friends I grew up with was always into imports, and he was like 10 years older than me, and he always just pushed the Hondas into my head and all that stuff. And then Fast and the Furious came out, and I was like, dude, the Skyline's just one of those cars that you played in all those video games, Need for Speed and everything. And I'm like, one day.
One day. Got it. And is it a manual?
Yeah.
That's making it so much more fun.
Yeah.
So, moving forward, like, what do you look the most forward to? What are you looking forward to? Because you accomplish so much. You're building an empire with your pharmacies now. You're getting into the coaching business. You live in Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? What is next for you? I mean, what are you looking forward to?
I think it's time for the next chapter. Have kids, raise them properly. Try and keep them away from TVs and social media as much as I can. And because when we were growing up, that stuff didn't really exist.
Yeah.
No cell phones, none of that. And so I want to try and keep my kid as clean as possible, and maybe even do a little homeschooling just to prevent some of the bad habits from being brought on. I kind of just feel like that, and the coaching is kind of the next chapter. By 30, I've already accomplished so much. How much is enough? And I just want to maintain at this point.
Got it. And you're already doing some real estate deals and
Yep.
Investing in the real estate and all that kind of stuff. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, my first real estate purchase was a warehouse just to keep all my shit in. And that kind of grew into something, then bought another one, rented that out. And it's been a slowly evolving process of just doing little things here and there along the way. And it's passive income, as long as it pays the mortgage and the taxes and insurance and gives me even $500 a month. I don't care, it's an appreciating asset. If I ever need cash, sell it, there we go, or take a loan against it.
Yeah. Well, Brian, for people who don't know you, okay, where can they find out more about you?
Instagram, I guess, Brian Gold, PhD.
Brian Gold, PhD. There you have it. Brian, who was born in a very privileged background, but even the privilege go on a downfall. Just because you're well off, because you have a well-off mom and dad, that doesn't mean that you're isolated from the world. So mom and dad went through divorce. Dad, we had a substance abuse issue. Mom had a substance abuse issue. Mom took it out on you in a physical way for many years. To a point that you're still scarred. You still have to see therapists and stuff like that for it.
That stuck with me for life.
Of course. I mean, but even through all of those and having a learning disability and going through, an abusive alcoholic mother, you were able to put that aside, stay focused, expand your pharmacies, and, become a multi-millionaire. Even though right now, you're very net worth rich, lifestyle poor.
Yep.
What you're trying to do now is to be able to not only be net worth rich, but also be lifestyle rich.
Yeah, because people don't realize if I don't go to work and work, that's it. I don't have an income.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to entrepreneurships and all the risks. Well, Brian, man, it was a pleasure. You being here, man. I'm totally inspired by your story. And for those people who are listening to this, man, I mean, a lot of us sometimes we think that, oh my God, if we're multimillionaires, our parents are multimillionaires, they have it made, and we just see that that's not true. Money doesn't solve everything in life. Especially when it comes to substance abuse and divorces and just physical abuse.
No, sometimes money makes the problems even bigger.
Exactly. You always said, they said money doesn't change you, money exposes you. Money makes who you are faster.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I wholeheartedly believe in that, man. Brian, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course, Sam.